Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 2. I am Francis Oyima Edet, coming to you live from the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. Rep says NBS must be protected from political interference. Appeal Court sets aside tribunal judgment, affirms Abdullahi Sule as Nasarawa governor. Plus, Hamas-run Gaza Ministry of Health suspends cooperation with WHO on Al-Shifa evacuations. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for joining us. We begin the news this afternoon with Nigeria's leader, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has arrived in Abuja from Berlin, Germany, where he attended the G20 Compact with Africa CWA conference. The president, who left Nigeria on November 18, 2023, was received on his arrival in Abuja by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, as well as his chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. The president had joined other heads of state and government of CWA members countries, bilateral partners, as well as heads of international organizations to deliberate on the immediate enhancement of economic and business cooperation with a view to outlining concrete measures to boost investment in critical areas such as energy, trade, infrastructure, and new technologies, among others. The G20 CWA conference was co-hosted by the German government and German business associations. Away from that, the federal government has said that it is dedicated to extending irrigation projects and reactivating dormant initiatives to improve food security in the country. A Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utsev, stated this during a familiarization tour of the Anambra-Imo River Basin Development Authority facilities in Agbala, near Owerri. Utsev stated that his ministry was looking into new ways and techniques of revitalizing the Lower Anambra Irrigation Project, LAIP, the largest rice irrigation project in the southeast. The minister urged respectable investors to increase their investment in the water industry, stating that President Bola Tinubu's administration was resolved to cultivate 500,000 hectares of irrigable land. We move to the red chambers, where the Senate has resolved to probe all tax waivers by the federal government from 2015 to date, just as it sought cancellation of those not directly linked to non-governmental or non-profit organizations. The Senate also ordered the deregistration of all subsidiaries to the Nigeria Postal Service being irregular and illegal identities and called for an investigation of the 10 billion naira released by the Ministry of Finance for the proposed NIPA's restructuring and recapitalization. The upper legislative chamber also sought stiff punishments, including jail terms, for violators of finance laws. The Senate made the resolution during the passage of the 2024-2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper. We move to the Green Chambers, where the House Committee Chairman on National Planning and Economic Affairs, Ishaka Ibrahim, says the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, needs to be insulated from political interference to perform more effectively. Ibrahim said this at a public lecture to mark the 2023 African Statistics Day celebration in Abuja. He said the reliability of data from the NBS would be questioned if there was any form of political interference. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee Chairman on National Planning and Economic Affairs, Abdullahi Yahaya, said Nigeria had many challenges, including poverty, inflation, and accumulation of debt. Yahaya added that NBS needed to provide reliable data to convince the executive and legislature of ways to address some of these challenges. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has urged the Nigerian Correctional Service (NCS) to give an account of inmates that escaped from the Kuje Medium Security Custodial Center in 2022. The House mandated its committees on reformatory institutions, interior and police affairs to liaise with the heads of the relevant security agencies to produce a comprehensive report on the status of the escaped inmates. The committees are expected to report back to the House within 6 weeks for further legislative actions. Reports say a member representing Ikono in the federal constituency of Akwa Ibom State, Emmanuel Ukponwodo, sponsored the motion that led to the resolution of the House. On judicial matters, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has affirmed the election of Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule. The appellate court also set aside the October 2 judgment of the Nasarawa State Election Petitions Tribunal that sacked APC Sule and declared David Ombugadu, candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), winner of the governorship election. Delivering judgment, the three-member panel led by Justice Uchechukwu Onyemenam held that the tribunal erred in law, concluding that Governor Sule did not win majority of the votes cast in the election. The court further held that the governor was denied fair hearing. Back here, the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly Committee on Appropriation and Finance has assured Akwa Ibomites of its readiness to interface with ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, to scrutinize the level of implementation of the previous budgets of the state and to also work on the current budget presented by Governor Pastor Umoino for speedy assent and commencement. Speaking during a press briefing on the budget presented by Governor Umoino, the chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation and Finance, Dr. Itoritum, noted that Governor Umoino is very interested in implementation of the budget, especially as regards education. Dr. Itoro further reviewed the various plans of the Umoino-led administration in various sectors, including agriculture, security, administration, economics, social business, and investment, as well as education, among others. This is just as she spoke on the total budget estimates of 845 billion naira. Meanwhile, the President of the Ibom People's Congress (IPC), Professor John Okon, has called on President Tinubu and the security operatives to intervene and rescue the 8 kidnapped prospective corps members of Akwa Ibom origin in Zamfara State who are still in the captivity of the kidnappers for over 100 days. He made the call in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, during his interaction with the media. Okon says that they cannot allow children to be exposed to incest and abduction and killings, therefore advocate for NYS's scheme to either be scrapped or reviewed to achieve the main purpose of its creation, which was to promote national unity. He further recommended reform that would allow corps members to serve in their respective states of origin to be put in place, since their security can no longer be guaranteed.
We are gathered here this afternoon for a simple reason, and short and simple reason. One, we have 8 of our Akwa Ibomites abducted in the last 90 days or more on their way to serving the nation. And we are here as a body to lend our voice to the government to do whatever they can within their power to rescue these young men and women. IPC have sent a letter, to the president of Nigeria, President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have sent a letter to the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. We have sent a letter to the Speaker of the House of Assembly, House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas. We've sent a letter, to National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu. We have also sent a letter to our governor, Pastor Umar Basieno. And in that letter, which I'm going to specify very succinctly what our demands are, and we also want to work again alongside the state government and the federal government in the rescue of Akwa Ibomites that are being held in captivity for the last almost 90 days. Number two, we want to direct, again, as appropriate, that the Nigerian Army, police, intelligence, and other security agencies to facilitate immediate release and return of Akwa Ibomites that are held in captivity in Zamfara State home immediately. We also ask to be directed as appropriate that the government agencies responsible for working collaboratively and sharing information intelligence with families of the abducted corps members to assuage their hurt and heighten their anxiety. We can no longer allow our children to be exposed to incessant abduction, killings, in the cause of saving our nation. And in that, we recommend a review of NYC scheme. Again, that's very simple. We want, two things very succinctly. We want NYC scheme to be reviewed, and we want NYC to be scrapped or reform, reform NYC. Okay? Part of the reform should include maybe allowing us citizens or to serve in their geopolitical zones. Okay, because of the fact that the security of these young men and women that are not guaranteed.
We move now to Africa, where South Africa's opposition leader Julius Malema and 5 other members of parliament from his Economic Freedom Fighters (EFF) party have been punished with a 1-month suspension without pay from parliament. The Parliament's Powers and Privileges Committee found them guilty of contempt of Parliament for storming the stage during President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address in February. The committee noted that each suspended member must also make an apology in person in the House to the President, Speaker, and the people of South Africa for disrupting the President's address and putting the country in a bad light. They also added that the suspension of the 6 members of Parliament will run throughout the month of February next year. Still in Africa, Army in the Democratic Republic of Congo says it will punish any soldier in contact with a largely Hutu rebel group linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide. The army said anyone, regardless of rank, who breaks the ban on dealing with the FDLR militia would be arrested. The announcement follows pressure from the United States on both Congo and Rwanda to lessen tension between them. On the foreign scene, Hamas-controlled Ministry of Health in Gaza is reportedly suspending cooperation with the World Health Organization (WHO), which had been helping to facilitate evacuations with the Al-Shifa hospital in northern Gaza. The announcement came following reports that the hospital's director has been arrested by the Israel Defense Forces (IDF) while evacuating part of the World Health Organization convoy. The ministry's spokesperson Ashraf Al-Qidra said a WHO convoy from Al-Shifa in the north of the enclave had been stopped for several hours after a checkpoint operation by the IDF in central Gaza. Al-Qidra added that several medical staff had been arrested, including the director of Al-Shifa, Mohammed Salmiya. Still on the foreign scene, the World Health Organization (WHO) has asked China for more data on respiratory illnesses and clusters of undiagnosed pneumonia spreading in the north of the country, urging people to take steps to reduce the risk of infection. WHO said northern China has reported an increase in influenza-like illness since mid-October when compared to the same period in the previous 3 years. Recall that China's National Health Commission last week told reporters that the respiratory illness spike was due to the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions and the circulation of non-pathogens, namely influenza and common bacterial infections that affect children, including Mycoplasma pneumonia. Reports say Chinese capital of Beijing, located in the north of the country, is currently experiencing a cold snap, where temperatures are expected to plummet to well below zero by Friday, and the city is also showing a trend of multiple pathogens coexisting. And still to come in the news, England tests captain Ben Stokes to skip 2024 Indian Premier League to manage fitness and workload. To stay with us.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying with us, and now to the concluding part of our news stories. On the business news, the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) says the average retail price of a litre of petrol increased from 195.29 naira in October 2022 to 630.63 in October 2023. The NBS, while making the declaration in its petrol price watch for October 2023, released in Abuja, said that the October 2023 price of 630 naira 63 kobo represented a 222 naira 92 kobo percent increase over the price of 195 naira 29 kobo recorded in October 2022. The NBS also stated in its diesel price watch report for October 2023 that the average retail price was 1,004 naira 98 kobo per litre. It said that the October 2023 price of 801 naira 9 kobo per litre amounted to a 25.45% increase over the 801 naira 9 kobo per litre paid in October 2022. Still in business, the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association (NECA) has slammed in-season strikes by organized labor in the country, stressing that the in-season strikes are affecting the business environment. NECA stressed its refusal to let either the federal government with its persistent legal dispute or organized labor through recurrent strikes continue to jeopardize legitimate businesses. A Director General of NECA, Adewale Smart Oyerinde, said this while announcing the third edition of the NECA Annual Employers Excellence Award with the theme Against All Odds in Lagos State. Oyerinde expressed disappointment in what he termed the government's recklessness through the National Assembly, describing it as regrettable. He urged both the federal government and the National Assembly to reconsider their continuous summoning of organized businesses, deeming it disruptive and unnecessary. He stressed that there are designated agencies responsible for regulating and engaging with such business. On our health news, medical experts have raised an alarm over the high rate of antibiotics misused in Nigeria, lamenting that it has led to a rise in antibiotic resistance. They noted that antibiotic resistance has dire consequences on health and leads to poor health outcomes. Delivering a presentation on antimicrobial resistance and patient safety, lessons from moralities, Professor Mohammed Manga described the use of antimicrobial, which he said may cause resistance. He noted that antimicrobials are among the commonest drugs used in treating human illnesses, adding that infections, especially in low research settings, are very common. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization says antibiotic resistance is one of the biggest threats to global health, food security, and development. Today, according to the global health body, antibiotics resistance leads to longer hospital stays, higher medical costs, and increased mortality. In the meantime, a nutritionist, Uju Onora, says poor nutrition in the first 1,000 days of a child's life can cause irreversible damage to the growing brain. Honora, who said this during an interview with newsmen in Abuja, noted that the first 1,000 days from pregnancy to 2 years is crucial for development. She explained that if not given the right foods, it could affect a child's ability to do well in school. Honora also said that stress, trauma, poverty, and violence experienced during the first 1,000 days could have long-term adverse health effects on a baby. On the kinds of food the mother should eat after childbirth, she advised a balanced diet that contains all the food nutrients for healthy growth. These, according to her, should include lean meat, high-fiber foods, low-fat dairy products, and plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. In sports, England Test captain Ben Stokes has made himself unavailable for the 2024 Indian Premier League to manage his workload and fitness. All-rounder Stokes, age 32, is due to have knee surgery before England's 5-match Test series in India next year. Stokes was Chennai Super Kings' most expensive signing for the 2023 IPL, but played just twice due to injury issues. The Test captain scored only 15 runs and bowled 1 over for 18 runs in his 2 appearances for the Super Kings. Still in sports, the Nationwide League One has unveiled a trophy designed with a gold plate for the maiden edition of its cup competition. The competition is scheduled to run from Friday, November 24th to Saturday, December 9th. Uyo and Kano have been designated as the venue of the inaugural tournament. Reports say 16 teams will grace the competition at the Uyo Township Stadium and the Sani Abacha Stadium, Kano, while the grand finale will be staged at the Buhari Stadium, Abuja. We move to entertainment, where Ireland-born Nigerian Afrofusion artist Mazi Flows has released his highly anticipated single, Can't Stop My Shine, an inspiring track echoing the sentiment of never giving up no matter the odds. The single is a universal call to action and celebrates the hard-working souls who refuse to let their light dimmed. As Mazi Flows navigates the rugged terrain of the music industry solo, each verse of Can't Stop My Shine is imbibed with the grit of his experiences and the unwavering conviction that every artist's light deserves to shine. Still on entertainment, U.S. actor Jamie Foxx is being sued by a woman who is alleging that he sexually assaulted her at a restaurant in New York City 8 years ago. According to the lawsuit, Fox, whose real name is Eric Malon Bishop, groped the unnamed woman after she asked to have her photo taken with him. The accuser is suing Fox for damages alleging sexual assault, abuse, assault, and battery. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News at 2. I am Francis Oyima, edit. Many thanks for watching and do enjoy the rest of your day.